So today we're talking about what's on the horizon, some fashion forecasting, if you will. How will 2024 shape up? And of course, what Japan can tell us about fashion this year. All right, so for those that do know, this is the return of the state. Let's get it. So fashion outlets and online mags and social media posts, whatever, are already drudging up new takes on what the fashion trend is going to be this year. And unfortunately, it continues to reveal how out of touch the industry is with the common consumer. Now, I can rail about that for a number of minutes, but I will spare you. I did the reading for you. Let me go ahead and spell it all out. So this new term they are trying out is a direct reference to the last industry trend of quiet luxury. And pray tell, what is this new wave? It is quiet outdoor. You heard that right. Quiet outdoor. That's what they came up with. It's basically a new generation of functional fashion that is less contrived, more minimalistic, streamlined, sophisticated, yet functional. There's a lot of black in there. Basically, it's just like a total rebranding of techwear. And while I'm always quick to take anything the industry pushes with a grain of salt, they might be onto something here. Not the term, that's terrible, but the actual fashion movement towards functional fashion, yeah, they might be hitting the nail on the head. Now, here in Japan, we're seeing the rumblings of this across several different brands and labels. Recently, new sub-labels by brands like Jieda have explored functional clothing that is very well done. Even fan favorite out there in the West, Wacko Maria, are giving us glimpses of this new direction in their own way, and labels that have been doing it for years, like Civilized and the Viridian, are gaining renewed interest. Even double taps in neighborhood Japan are latching onto what seems like a sure bet towards functional clothing. But as we all know, trends and movements only last as long as we, the people, actually wear them. And of course, how many people actually subscribe to the movement, like just by looking at it? I, for one, think we have danced this tango before. Gorpcore was getting a bit of attention around winter last year, and it seems fashion companies are ready to tackle it for real this time. We've seen Y3 ramping itself back up, Hamkus making major moves, and Arc'teryx is starting to be heard outside of its common core community, suggesting the brand is gaining more mainstream attention. But anyone getting their hopes up about a complete quiet outdoor takeover is likely to be disappointed. It's gonna be there, but not like everywhere. The better part of fashion, both in social media and the community, is still infatuated with reworking past and core styles. Among Japanese designers, this is very clear. We've seen Junya Watanabe, who is widely regarded as the one spearheading CDG way back to the front of the conversation again, is taking fashion in places everybody probably wants to go. Not just in Japan, but out west too. Man is on fire right now. Jun Takahashi continues to prove he can drop a casual banger without breaking a sweat. And up-and-comers like Kamiya and Kanako Sakai are proving that this generation's wide and loud vibe is far from done. As far as what impresses me personally, the most is the sheer grit and dedication of up-and-coming label Meanswhile, and it's gaining a lot of steam. While started in 2014, the brand has just started to gain some major movement, and designer Fujisaki Naohiro is taking the main silhouette of today and expertly combining it with supreme tailoring and adding that outdoor mix to it, and it looks amazing. He's doing it right, and I don't think anyone's even close, but somebody's gonna pick it up and do what he's doing, so it's probably gonna stay here. And of course, all this comes as no surprise. If you're in Japan long enough, you get the sense that this is just par for the course, and you learn not to be moved by great design, really, you just expect it. Because the unfortunate reality is that Japan does not noticeably move the needle of fashion and style out west. It just doesn't. I mean, it may to the people that visit here frequently, and they just bring the styles back from Japan and everyone continues to act like they somehow are fashion savants. That happens all the time, but that's also me being negative, and I promise not to be negative going forward. I'm just saying, it's no secret that fashion out west is going to make all the noise this year. It's gonna produce the outfits, and of course, content. And content is key here. I'm gonna switch gears a little bit because 2024 is a make or break year for fashion content. With so many vying for space and so many people showcasing, the space of fashion content has become so crowded that standing out requires even more than ever before. And as long as people are willing to wear the most bombastic, the most unlikely, the more we'll see outfits and showcases that seem crazy or just unimaginable. It's gotten to the point where I can safely say that Japan is no longer the place with the crazy styles. That title totally belongs to the Western Hemisphere. And to be honest, it's the States mostly. Y'all are going nuts, especially in high fashion areas like New York. They're starting to get that European vibe. There's a lot of experimentation, which I think is kind of cool, but I think it definitely needs some more time to kind of assimilate itself, kind of put itself together. And I'm not saying that as a diss, I'm more saying that as kind of a critique of what I'm seeing. There's just a lot of people taking a lot of chances, which is good, but I don't think they've kind of solidified what that chance is or what that image of bombastic American style is. It's just put it together and see what happens. And while the US isn't necessarily pushing other markets to completely change, Europe and Japan and Asia has its own vibe, the sheer amount of star power and cultural influence coming from the US is just far too hard to ignore for the vast amount of people on Earth. So where is fashion today? Or where is fashion going? Well, fashion has ostensibly, yes, ostensibly become a costume party, at least in the popular sphere. For those of us who appreciate the more nuanced, subtle approach, there's still more than enough to rummage through if you're willing to discover, and most of those people do discover a lot. It's also being governed by a very specific agenda. That is the truly bombastic and just out there for clicks, likes, whatever, views. And also the genderlessification of fashion. I made that up, but it sounds good. The last time the industry toyed with it, the masses, or at least the social media masses, simply weren't ready, or they just misunderstood it, or quite honestly, it tried way too hard to make it annoyingly political. Seriously, it was just the most politicized movement, and people were talking about what you can wear and what you can't wear, and you shouldn't wear this, instead of being a real formless form of fashion where anybody can wear anything. It was about guys wearing pencil skirts. And yeah, you can wear that. I don't mind if you wear that, but that's not all that genderless is, and that's what a lot of people were making it out to be. But now a combination of wider, more formless styles and more designers combining men's and women's collections on the runway, we get to see this in its maturity, or at least more maturity. Unless we mention the imminent rise of Peter Do, as well as Asian designers overall getting more airtime due to popularity of Asian pop culture, specifically Korean, and we know a lot of Asian fashion is drenched in androgynous and genderless fashion, and of course the ever-growing demands of social media and dominance and competition, we can only surmise that fashion will continue to grow beyond its traditional gender roles. In Japan, we've been there as a matter of culture that surrounds fashion, but to see, in particular America, the biggest exporter of pop culture, joining in on the global stage of androgyny is nothing short of a cultural shift that will shape fashion for years to come. Just think, the oldest Gen Zers right now are approaching their mid-20s, which is nuts. Their style is beginning to set in stone, and it's largely free from the trappings of the traditional. However, it's been almost completely defined by social pop culture, which is, quite frankly, fleeting. So we don't know where it is. And this whole thing like quiet outdoor, it's already late to the party. They've already been on it. And this is just an industry attempt for the more elite to buy more of that stuff, to get in on it. And this is all due to the lust for luxury waning. So who's to say if this new wave has legs in that elite sphere? Now, I personally think it does because they will push it through, but I honestly think that very few will be able to completely engage in the upper end. And if they do, I suspect they won't be calling it quiet outdoor, because that's just terrible. That said, some very cool stuff is being produced and on the horizon from independent designers, so definitely check those out. Support independent designers in 2024 if you support anything. Forget everything that they're pushing towards you. Independent designers, that's where it's at. That's where all the creativity is at. So look at London, look at Japan, look at Korea, look at Berlin, look at in America, of course, all independent designers that are doing great work. Check them out. I can't give you names right now. Perhaps I'll get somebody on the channel to talk to them live about what designers we should be checking out. So be prepared for that, because I'm all about supporting independent designers this year. But what do you have to add to the conversation? Let it be known in the comments. What do you think is gonna be hot this year? Do you think more brands are gonna go towards this outdoor, quiet outdoor, or at least functional fashion? I wanna know. Or some other stuff. What else should we be checking out that you want us to talk about, or you want us to mention, or who we should talk to in this sphere? Let it all be known in the comments. But most importantly, keep it locked right here for all of your info in international fashion, culture, and business from Tokyo. It's your boy, and keep it casual. Yoroshiku onegai shimasu. And I'll see you guys in a minute.